And good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. We are Tilson Live. I am Eric Allerid, Senior Vice President of Tilson Homes, Business Development, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family. And we are joined, as we are every single week, by the person that makes all this possible, the one and only Director of Marketing, all things wonderful that you see at Tilson Homes, Mrs. Dawn Dantzler. Say hello, Dawn.
Hey, everybody.
And we are honored this week. We are joined for the second time, last-minute surprise show guest, the Senior Vice President of Construction for all of Tilson Homes. That map you see behind him, the Republic of Texas. He oversees every single nail being driven at this company, Mr. Justin Ordino. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
So thank you. Seriously, thank you for joining us. I know you guys are off the charts busy, which is wonderful. But folks, jump in. Tell us where you're watching from. We cannot wait for everybody to get in here, ask us all your questions. Anything that has to do with build on your land, anything that has to do with construction related, supply chain challenges that we're struggling with, any kind of sourcing and trades, obviously design changes, financing, anything that has to do with building a home on your land in Texas, or really anywhere. We'll guess it like other places, I guess. I don't know much about them, but Justin, your last name is Ordino. You got to know something about Louisiana. We'll figure that out. But truly, we want you guys to leave here with the absolute best information to make the most informed decision. That's the kind of buyers that make the best decisions, the ones that are best informed. So let's really, guys, tell us where you're watching from. Can't wait to see you. We got questions rolling in. Don, what is going on? We're being bombarded already.
Yes. Well, they heard Justin was going to be here, and so they all came up.
Thanks, goodness.
Yeah, I actually have a few on YouTube that started asking their questions before we went live, so I'm going to read those to you guys.
Oh, man.
Liz is asking if we can share examples of level 1 gray shaker style cabinets. So that's not something that I have for this live, but we will definitely make a note of it and get some pictures posted for you.
Keep those under your desk, Justin? I thought you had those under your desk. Do you not?
No, I moved them out to the sales park.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Good call. Good call.
Yeah.
And then Tim has questions about how deep is the water main typically buried from the well pump house to the residence? A question he didn't think about pre-ice apocalypse.
Justin, what do you recommend? I know it's going to vary around the state and probably going to be the same everywhere, but what do you kind of roughly recommend?
Typically 18 to 24 inches. You can go deeper than that. It won't hurt anything, but generally too, it's not a bad idea to put a layer of dirt on top of that pipe, top of pipe to 18 inches, and then a caution tape so that you're ever digging around there, you might actually catch the caution tape and it might jog your memory that you're about to damage a water line.
Good tip.
So it means that if you're digging and you find caution tape, it's not necessarily a previous murder scene. It could in fact just be buried electrical or water lines. Is that what you're saying?
It might head off a bigger problem for sure.
That's a great idea. Well, there's your life hack for the day, everyone.
There you go.
Whoever joined us in the first 5 minutes just got their money's worth for sure.
Absolutely. Tim is also asking if we're planning on adding solar rainwater collection in the future. Are there any things we should consider now? For example, the location of the breaker panels, gutters, anything that might make it easier to install those things down the road.
I would honestly get with the company to find out, because there's a lot of different options out there. I don't know on the gutter side, you're probably trying to hit a corner somewhere where it's not visible from a window or obstructing a door. Those would be the considerations. And also it would depend on the geography or topography of your property as to where those might go, correct? What angle it's sitting at. And then for solar, I know that maybe an exterior panel or some kind of panel that accesses this panel would be something for consideration. But honestly, talking to those companies that are currently doing that would probably give you some better tips on how to successfully set the stage for getting one of those components added later on.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Great.
Also, on the solar especially, you want to consider battery storage. I mean, you're going to have to put that somewhere. I mean, the solar, it's not really a real-time benefit. It stores that energy in a battery somewhere, and we're not talking about like a little 12-volt car battery. Like, it's a battery bank. So it's going to take up space somewhere in your home, and that's something you need to consider.
Okay, good advice. And let's see, Araceli is asking, what is the difference between buying land from a private party versus a builder?
Well, I mean, legally speaking, as far as Texas is concerned, buying land from anyone, you're buying it from a private party. So your real estate is changing hands. It's titled, or the deed is in one entity's name. It could be an individual, it could be a business, it could be an LLC, and then that real estate is being transferred or conveyed to the buyer, to the grantee. So you got the grantor who's selling the property and the grantee who's getting the property. And that's really all there is. So there's really not a difference between buying land from a private party versus a builder. Now, Araceli, if you're thinking about, maybe the question is buying a home from a builder versus building privately or versus building with a custom home, maybe that's the difference there. But as far as conveying land from one entity to another in Texas, there's really not a difference.
Okay. So Angel is asking, are the base prices on your website still honored, or do they change due to the cost of lumber going up? It's understandable to increase the price due to the market. So the prices on our website are as accurate as they can be. We do update them every time that we do a price change. So you will see those reflect our current prices. Once you go under contract, the price that you go under contract at is protected for you as long as everything is progressing and you're meeting your responsibilities along the way. If we do see, things are going slower than they should in the pre-construction phase, there is a possibility that we might come back and say, hey, it's been going on too long and we've seen a lot of, materials cost increase and things like that. And we may need to adjust if things aren't moving as expected. All right. Terry is saying, we just did our stakeout and my side door is missing and my front patio is smaller than we thought. So what should she do if we have a stakeout and we don't think that the plans quite match?
Well, the first thing is, for sure, the flags that you're seeing or the rebar you're seeing on your property is definitely going to look smaller than what is actually going to happen. That's always the case. And in fact, even when the concrete's poured, oh my gosh, it looks smaller. And
when the framing goes up.
And the framing goes up, you're still is smaller. And then when the walls go up, different story. So the first thing to do would be to, Terry, is go to get the dimensions of what your porch is on your plan and at the stakeout, the site evaluation, and go to the design center. And I promise you, somewhere on one of the three buildings, either the design center itself or one of the two model homes, we have a porch or room or something that's going to be similar in size. And just verify if it really is as small as you think it is. Because in a lot of cases, we find people look at it with wall space and they're like, oh, okay, never mind, it's good. And then if a side door is missing, I mean, it could be that your plans maybe aren't even completed yet, because we're trying to stay ahead of the game. We're trying to do some of those site evaluations before the plans are completed, right, Justin? So
and we won't always mark every door on the stakeout. So we'll follow the plans once we get under construction, which is the critical document, is to make sure it's on the plans.
Yeah. You made a great point. Yeah, they don't locate every door at the site evaluation. Really, it's just kind of where your front door is and maybe where your master bedroom is looking out. Obviously where your porches are, and then other things like utilities. So where's the septic going to be stubbed out? Where's the water coming into the home? Where's the power coming into the home? That kind of stuff is really what the site evaluation is about. So,
okay, great.
Great question, though. Great question.
Great question. All right. We also have a question about when we see the price of the homes on the website, is that built or just the blueprints? So that is for the home built at using our standard included features for that home plan in the unincorporated areas of the county. So that is just the home, not the land, since you're bringing your own land to the party. But yeah, that is the home with all of your standard kitchen appliances and things like that.
But Kijana, if you know someone who will buy just blueprints for about $300,000, please call
We are selling, yes.
They're going to put Justin out of a job, but we can make this happen.
Just need a few of them.
Great question. Thanks for watching, Kijana. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Let's see. V is asking, how long does the process take to build a home?
Justin, this should be fresh on your mind, brother.
Oh, are we going from contract or from the date we receive the file?
Give them both. I say break it up.
Yeah.
Sure. So, I think we're taking on average, what, about 5 months to create a file at this point. So harvesting all the information and collecting it, do a site evaluation, the soils, all of those things coming together so that the builder can grab the documents and then execute the actual construction of those homes.
Mhm.
So it is taking anywhere from, I'm going to tell you right now, we're probably looking at 8 to 9, 10 months in there. Depends on location, depends on the square footage of the home. And right now, it also depends on where it's located. We've been inundated, and fortunately inundated, with a lot of great customers that have come in wanting to see what we do here and how we do it. But we have a lot of subcontractors that we're working with right now. They're in a growth mode as well, and so we're all working through those opportunities to make sure that we're doing it correctly. But you're looking somewhere in that ballpark of about 8 to 9 months, possibly, under construction.
Yeah,
and that's in addition to the 4 to 5 months of upfront pre-construction.
Correct, under just construction.
Now, some of the biggest drivers of that are, like Justin said, location. One of the biggest things is kind of how prepared you are as a customer, and your land is when you come in. We're finding a lot of people that are coming in, they want to buy, and that's great, but then we're finding they make a whole bunch of changes after they initially do the agreement. Well, that's going to definitely, every time you make a change, you kind of go back to square one. Every time you change the plans at all, you're starting back over. It's got to go back into drafting. It's got to go back through all of our costing. So that's one of the biggest drivers we're seeing with customers that are already under contract, is when you go back and make any kind of changes to the plan after you do your agreement. That's going to add time every time.
Well, I think too,
Absolutely.
just working with utility companies. There's so many factors out there right now that, it's convergence of all those factors. It's drawing out some of those cycle times, but just dealing with utility companies, power companies are swamped right now. I know I've spoken to a gentleman not here last week, and he was telling me about 3 months for construction, for them to just put poles in the ground, to get power to a property. So there's a lot that goes into that equation, but the average would be somewhere around that 8 month.
Okay. Marjorie is asking about Orange County. She noticed that it's removed from the website. Do we not build there anymore?
That was hard to let go of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why though, Justin? What's the deal? It's really, because we want to perform at a high level. So what don't do that?
You want to make sure that you provide the best service possible. Our contractor base historically has traveled many, many miles for us to be able to put another home out there for a customer to live in. They're just not required to. And we also see a shrinking labor base right now. So we're very fortunate that we have some very long-standing relationships. So we're still able to navigate. It was a tough decision to pull back on some of it, but to do our job the way that we want to do it and provide that level of service all the way through, not only from time of contract, but all the way through the warranty period. We're going to make sure that we have that down, and hopefully be able to come back to Orange and do some more work there soon.
Great. Wonderful. Terry is asking, is the vinyl flooring waterproof? She saw some installs of flooring with the rubber backing, but she doesn't remember seeing that on samples level 1.
Yeah, I don't have the level sitting in front of me. I know that some of the vinyl flooring that we do offer is in fact waterproof. The rubber backing that you're talking about is. I don't know the various levels where that falls, but we do install and sell vinyl flooring that is in fact waterproof. The other stuff around it's probably not. Your baseboards, your cabinets, all of that kind of stuff is definitely not waterproof. With the flooring, you still want to get that moisture out of the house if something happens though. Like that's concrete itself can hold moisture, right, Justin?
Right.
Yes.
Standing water is never a good thing. So clean it up as fast as you can. Pat is asking, can we use our own AC company and our own flooring company? If they work with you on design, that would be best for us. What say you, Justin?
Yeah, the flooring for sure. We welcome people to do the flooring if that's what they choose to do. There's three parts of the home that we just don't believe we want to let go of. And it honestly comes down to me. Eric's going to shake his head here for a moment, but foundation, framing, and then HVAC. The reason is all of those components are paired together uniquely, and we make sure that they're all going to work in conjunction with one another. Whereas like plumbing and electrical, there's nothing really that you can do that's going to impact the atmosphere of that home or allow moisture condensation to start to form. So you don't want to see an undersized or an oversized air conditioning unit. You start getting into the amount of air changes per hour that go in with that house. So we hold that one close to the vest, so we don't give the HVAC contract up.
Yeah, it can create a lot of moisture issues in your home. We find that HVAC contractors, particularly people that own their own company, they want to do something real, maybe new or cutting edge or very creative, and maybe the rest of the home isn't really designed to accommodate that. And so if you don't take measures to either protect the house from moisture coming in or do something additional on the HVAC, and that could be it could turn out really, really badly, Pat. But anyway, Justin said it's really important that, I think what you mentioned the last part of your question, they work on the design, even all the way to the floors. Like, it's really important that we know what kind of floors are going where, particularly if you're thinking about doing stained concrete or something like that. Like, it's really, really critical that we know that. But we want to know exactly what you're putting in and what rooms and how all that's going to play together, because it does affect the way that contractors go about their job.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Melissa is asking, is it best to wait to get a soil test right before building, or is it okay to be done beforehand at any time?
We would like to take ownership of the soils report. We actually have our engineer, they have a division that will go out there and do the soils. And we will identify exactly where that house is going to be located with you, whatever your vision is. So that way we pinpoint, and we'll at that point punch 2 holes in the ground, extract soils exactly where the footprint of that house is. So it's very specific the way that we do it. So we appreciate the opportunity to do that rather than extend that service on to y'all and harvest it and bring it in and go through all of that. We have a really good setup for that.
Yeah, we definitely want. Yeah, it'd be hard to know ahead of time, Melissa, that you get that soil test right exactly in the footprint of the home where you want it to be without being called first. So that's really critical to us. Plus, it's included in the base price of all of our homes, so there's not really a cost advantage to do it ahead of time. You don't want to pay for it twice.
Right. Exactly. Wonderful. J Man is asking, what do closing costs look like once building is done?
Really depends on what type of loan you're doing, J-Man. So you could, whether it's conventional, FHA, VA, TexVet, they're all going to have varying closing costs. Some companies do require at least some portion of origination fees. So I tell people to budget about 3% of the total loan amount as far as their closing costs go. That's usually pretty close estimate. The good news is that the mortgage company will give you an exact dollar amount up front, actually, whenever you're doing the approval process. So you're going to know before we really start driving nails, kind of a really close idea of what your closing costs are going to be.
Okay, great. Pat is asking, how much time before we plan to start house building do we want to work on the design to get it the way we want it? She's looking for an estimate, because I know we will have items changed, deleted, or added, but when should they start working on plans?
Well, you can start working on plans as early as you want, but really before we sign the agreement, we really want to have that plan dialed in with exactly what changes you're wanting to make. You don't want to be making changes after you sign a contract with us, or any builder for that, but whether that's for somebody else, because it's going to cause delays. It's going to cause additional pricing. So you really want to have that dialed in. I'm not talking about before construction. I'm talking about before you sign an agreement. 100% before you start construction, you want to have that plan exactly buttoned up, because that's what your builder is going to use to do the actual blueprints of the home. So that what we're going to build it from, all of our purchase orders, all of our estimates, all of our job takeoffs, material takeoffs, orders, everything that's going to show up at that job site needs to be decided on way prior to that. Otherwise, you'll be chasing that stuff through construction, and that's how people go bald, like Justin and me. It's not healthy. It's not an enjoyable experience. Nobody wants to do that.
Fair enough. Laura is asking, is there any reason not to, or restrictions on locating an aerobic septic system in the front yard?
What do you think, Justin?
No, well, there is restrictions on aerobic systems and where they can be placed. The spray heads, proximity to property lines, next to fruit-bearing trees, or if there's cattle or some kind of livestock. Eric, you okay?
Good. I dropped my cup, but everything's fine. No one died. Everything's okay.
But being in the front yard, especially because I believe out in rural properties, most times you're spending the time in the backyard. So you're sealed back there. So putting it out in the front, my house in Needville. I put all the spray heads in the front yard, so there's no problem with putting the spray heads in the front yard.
Okay, great.
Great question, Laura. Thanks for asking.
All right. Runner Dude is asking about our HVAC systems and that we put them in the attic. Is there a reason for putting it in the attic versus a more accessible conditioned airspace like inside the home?
It used to, and they're starting to see more. I think people are wanting them in the living area. It does eat up some real estate there, so you're losing some of that square footage. The other thing that you have to do is you have to seal all of those ducts because they all still run to the attic. The ducts were still going to run to the attic. And you have to seal all of those penetrations so that you're not getting attic air down into the living area and trying to seal that off. So we've maintained so far that we, as a standard, if you will, put them in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Runner Dude, one of the things, because and Justin could touch on this if you wanted to, but every single bedroom and really room that has a door on it of any size has a return air, for instance, going back. So you've got a supply going to every room and even bathroom. So you got air ducts that are going from the main unit to all the rooms, and then you have returns that are going back to that. So you think of like a octopus on steroids coming out of there, just how sophisticated HVAC systems have become. It's not just the old closet unit you used to see. It's a tremendous amount of duct work that just needs space. So the times that we have done it downstairs, and we have, you need like an 8x8 room to accommodate all of those things. Your media filter, your fresh air intake, your dehumidifier, if you have that, all the duct work that has to be done. Like, you just need a lot of space for all that. And most folks aren't willing to give up that much square footage of their living area to accommodate something they're going to go into 2 or 3 times a year.
Right.
So, great question though.
Well, the other thing is you have a primary drain that you have to consider as well. So instead of running that directly outside, we place our primary drains generally into a all bath sink. It depends on the plant a little bit. We run that primary drain instead of just running it outside to rest near the foundation, and then you have to figure out how to channel it away from the house, or it just drops right there, wet spot, foundation issues potentially later down the road. So those are the considerations for doing that, but we just maintain in the attic at this point.
Okay, makes sense. Jack is saying, I have a plot of land on the coast with all of the utilities. What do I need to know before I start the process of having a home built?
You need to know the directions to our office and what time your appointment is. That's all you need to know. No, seriously, Jack, you've got it. I mean, if that's what you've got, that's what you've got figured out. We're going to comply with the windstorm certification. That's going to be included in the price of the home. If you know what the utilities are, all we're going to do is ask you kind of how far away they are, but that's all stuff that we're going to figure out very early on in the process. So I'm guessing if it is where you say it is, there's probably not a whole lot of timber to contend with as far as clearing a spot for the home, maybe minimal amount, but floodplain would be the only thing, and we can actually help you with that in the office. So we can bring up a FEMA map and figure out where the floodplain hits on your property, or you may know already. So if you've got a survey, if you've got a copy of your deed, which you can get that online, call and make an appointment, and you're ready to go.
All right, great. Jackie is asking, if we have an allowance for clearing the lot and we find the contractor we would like to do the job, how and when is that contractor paid?
So the way that works is you will pay that contractor. Okay, I know you have an allowance in the loan to do that, but you'll pay it and we will reimburse you for that amount. Now the kicker is we typically won't reimburse for that until the file has been at least what we call released to estimating, or kind of released to construction. So even, but if it's for a clearing of the lot, we could make an arrangement where we pay it before that, because you have to clear it for us to be able to get soil tests and engineering and stuff done. So we would obviously make an exception for that. But the way that that's paid is you pay and then we immediately reimburse you. Is that right, Justin?
Yes.
Justin concurs.
Jabo has a great question. What are some of the common regrets you hear from clients, things they wish they had done differently on their home?
So we actually asked that specifically on Avid, right? We say, what did you like, or would you change about the process? And typically the answer we get, Jabo, is they say nothing. It was great. Every now and then we may hear someone say, I wish I would have done more cabinet features, or wish I would have made a porch bigger or something. But it really, broadly speaking, there's not a whole lot that people pretty well have their budget in mind, and the home met their budget, and they're happy campers. Y'all have anything else you've read? You've read a bunch of Avid stuff.
Through construction, and I think this ties into the cycle time question that we had earlier, utilities and stuff. I think contacting septic companies, power companies, and getting those contacts, and we help identify who they are, and we can give you those contact numbers. It is something you have to facilitate. But I think through construction, a lot of times we hear frustration of, I wish I would have got in touch with them sooner and started a relationship with them. So the sooner you contact those folks, I think is something that you can proactively do as you're moving into the build, or even beforehand.
Okay, great. Let's see. Denise is sharing that she had a Tilson home built in 1992, still living in it and love it. Awesome. Send us some pictures. Send us some pictures. We'd love to see that. Thank you for sharing. Runner Dude is asking, are the cabinets pre-lined? And if not, is that an option? And are white appliances an option instead of stainless steel?
Go ahead, Justin.
Pre-lined.
Pre-lined.
They're not pre-lined.
No. I'm guessing he means like stuff on the shelves for.
They make some different cabinet materials that are out there, but our cabinets are not pre-lined. They're not melamine. So you're going to see the drawers or actual plywood box inside the drawer, not the box, but the drawer itself, right, and the shelving in there. So you would end up installing the liner at that point.
Yeah. Now, I know there is like an option for under the sink to have a tray to like catch drips. That is something that I know Kentmore offers if you chose to do that option.
That's correct. And what's in the sales part too with Kentmore, if there is something out there, we can certainly find out from Kentmore a little bit more details around what you're wanting. And if they have an option, we can certainly cost it for you.
Mm-hmm. What about white appliances?
Man, I don't know what appliances are available right now, so don't ask me. I mean,
there's a shortage of everything.
Yes, for sure.
But typically, yes, white appliances are available, but not in every model. A lot of models only are available in stainless these days, so something to consider. So if there's a specific little trinkets or features you like in an appliance, do double check the availability. Okay,
perfect. Terry is asking, when should we contact a septic company after their stakeout?
Immediately.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Jose is asking, what is the minimum credit score?
I think 680 for a conventional, even the type of loans we're doing. You're looking at 680.
Okay.
There might be a program out there for 640, but I haven't seen one in a while.
Yep. All right. Rusty is asking, can the water heater be put on ground level instead of in the attic?
Yes, there has to be some design considerations for it, but it's not uncommon that we see that at all.
Yeah, we do a lot. And by ground level, you mean 18 inches above the ground. That's as close as we're ever going to get.
Yes, so we do have to have a way to drain the safety pan that's underneath the TMP. Correct.
So we build it a little stage.
We do. It's a very integral part of the process.
Yes,
it gets its own stage.
I think that answers Pat's question as well. Doesn't want AC or water heater in the attic. Can we move it? Yes, we can. Yes, there will be additional costs, particularly for the HVAC system for all the reasons we talked about, but it is possible. Let's see. Keaton is asking, will a new plan be replacing the Hidalgo when it is retired? Yes. We are actually finalizing the design on that plan. We are designing a brand new plan to take the spot of the Hidalgo. So super exciting. I like it. It's gonna look great.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it.
See, if you attended the committee meetings with me and Justin, and Yeah,
I'm not a big meeting guy.
It's gonna be beautiful. I'm really excited about it. It's unlike anything else we've got, so very excited. John is sharing that Jonathan Bass is an awesome builder and that they are so happy to have him on the team. So yay, Jonathan.
That is great. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. Kathy is asking, what does closing look like if we're paying cash for the home?
Kathy, it looks like we're meeting at Whataburger and I'm gonna buy you a hamburger and we're doing no. Justin, walk us through what happens at the end on a cash transaction.
So it's very simple. We'll conduct a walkthrough. We go through there and introduce you to the home, teach you how to use the thermostat, show you where the appliance manuals are, all those little things, all the little nuances. Then approximately about a week later, if not sooner, we'll meet you again on your property at that home, and we will collect a check from you. We have a closing document just similar to what you would see at a title company, but it's a closing packet. It's going to list all your warranty information, and we're going to go through those last items that we took care of through construction. And then we hand you the keys to the home, and we take the trip. Most builders return it to the office, and we don't have to track them down afterwards. So it's a very simple process. Very simple process.
We also do wire transfers. You don't have to bring a check.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
But you can.
And to be clear, everybody gets the walkthrough that Justin was talking about, whether you're paying cash or not. We're going to do that process with everybody. So it's just a matter of where you're closing.
Right.
All right. Hannah is asking, what if you have a slab from a previous home on your property?
Be a great place to park a car.
We know companies to remove them.
Yeah. Tell us why, Justin. What are some of the reservations that you might have on the construction side, the warranty side?
So if you have just a slab, that we don't know what that engineer, we don't know the beam depths, we don't know the PI, the PSI, the concrete. We know nothing about it. And so when you go to support a different structure on there, if it doesn't hold up, you're going to be very disappointed. So there's no way of writing out a structural warranty that would exclude the foundation. And we pride ourselves on putting on a good home on the ground and something that we're going to stand behind. So there's a lot of reservations, or there would be a lot of reservations about using a slab that somebody else put in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
We're going to be here to back it up.
And you also include the plumbing in that. We had no visibility to see that the plumbing was ran correctly, how it was tied together. So it's the very beginning, and it's arguably the most important part of that house. Everything's important, but that is the most important component of the home.
Right.
All right, absolutely. All right, V is asking, what do you need to begin the process?
You need to know kind of what plan that you want, V. Actually, you need to know very well what plan that you want, and sit down with a consultant and go through that, what changes you want to make to it. You need to have a copy of your deed. Ideally, you'd have a survey. If not, we can get that done for you. And that's really it, a $1,500 deposit. We do require that before we start construction, you have 10% equity in the total value based on the appraisal. So that's really all you need. But to begin the process, really just need to be pre-approved with a lender or have the cash funds available to pay for the home, and a $1,500 deposit. And you need to have land, and you need to have a house picked out. That's about it.
All right, awesome. Melissa is asking, if a pond is desired on the property, is it best to dig prior to or after the build?
If you don't have an existing pond right now, I would appreciate coming out with our site evaluation team and look at the property in advance. If you can postpone to that point, there's nothing wrong if the pond exists or it's already there, but by digging the pond, you're kind of limiting your options possibly as to where you want to locate that house. And we might be able to identify some things out there that might suggest it would be wise to move it and put the pond somewhere else. So there's a lot more flexibility where the pond goes. Again, getting into utilities, your septic system and how that's going to be arranged. So I would propose that you wait, but it can be done in advance if you feel like you're certain, and if you're on a large tract of land and it's having no impact on the home site, dig away.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Lisa is asking if she can have someone do all the wood steps and landings and coordinate that during the final phase of construction.
Justin, do you have advice on steps and landings or railings or anything like that? Is it
actually? Yeah. So
great question,
steps,
Lisa.
Excellent question, Lisa.
We're assuming it's on the outside. So I'm going to take two-pronged approach here. So if it's on the inside, that would be a flooring contract. If it's on the inside of the home, if we're going to do the exterior steps and landing that we might need to do access to the top, yes, you can do those in the final phases. We're going to push on you a little bit because we need to get that done well in advance because it impacts other things that we can schedule around it. So we're going to ask that be done at a certain time, and depending on the plan location, it's going to change as to when the time frame for that would come in. But we don't want to wait till the final hour. So we would coordinate with you in construction and let you know when we need to see those activities performed.
But the answer, broadly speaking, is yes. They can have someone else. But it does impact inspections, Lisa. It does impact the final grade. How are we going to do that? So it can't, like Justin's saying, we can't do it the day before closing. Certainly can't do it afterwards because it will not pass inspection, and we can't get our final grade done. So we'll coordinate with the builder.
Okay, makes sense. Runner Dude is asking, have you ever done a downdraft cooktop stove that eliminates the need for a vent hood? And is that an option? So yes and yes. Okay.
Actually, we used to have it in one of our models. Standing model, we changed it up. But yes, we can do a downdraft.
Okay, perfect. V is asking, can you option the garage area and put rooms in them instead? So can we turn garage space into living area?
Well, it would be called living area, so it wouldn't be a garage anymore. So V, if you just like kind of the design-wise, the way it looks from the front, that's fine, but it would not be charged as garage, and it would be charged as living space. So you might be better suited just to go with a larger plan from a pricing perspective. But yeah, it would be, if you like kind of where that is, where it looks, then sure, you can use the space for that, but it's not kind of get that out of one's head that it's garage that we're turning into living area. It's living area. It's part of the house. It's not garage anymore.
Okay.
So electrical, HVAC, all of those things start to come into play. That's why you're not calling it garage space anymore, because it's just sheetrock and a couple of outlets and a door. So all the other additional components that come into that, making it a living area, do apply.
Yeah, as soon as you turn it into a room, we have to meet the air changes per hour. We have to meet the energy code. We have to meet the electric code. Like it's now a house.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, makes sense. Liz is saying that she really loves the look of the apron farmhouse sink. What is your opinion of stainless steel versus fire clay?
It's my favorite subject. And I'm not talking about sinks. I'm talking about my opinion. I like the way the fire clay looks, honestly.
Yeah.
To me, it looks more substantial, looks tougher, but performance-wise, I'm sure they're fine. Justin, what do you think? And Dawn, Dawn, what do you think?
Exactly.
I actually like the look of the stainless personally. Sorry. So I think it's just, I think what we're saying is it's a matter of opinion. They're both going to be great sinks for you. So it's just what style are you going for?
Well, now I have to know what Justin thinks.
Unless Justin has a different opinion. Break the tie.
I will tell you, it depends on what you're bringing in around it. So I remain neutral in all of this. I learned years ago as a young builder, do not get involved in selections. I have no opinion. I'm neutral, colorblind. I think it's what you're bringing in around it. So I respect both of y'all's decisions. See how this works? Yeah, exactly.
We'll have him back again. We'll work on Justin. We're going to get him a little more confidence built up, and
I'll be more opinionated next time.
Yeah, we'll bring him on a couple more. He'll have opinions.
New to the show. All right. Thanks, Liz. Thanks for asking.
Thanks. Jackie is asking if we wanted to add extra porch lights, outlets, or some of the cool cabinet extras. At what point do we discuss that with our salesperson?
Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. Like if there's something you want to change, we need to know early, and so we can capture it on the plans. Now, that being said, they may indeed wait till the plans come out of. If the plans have already gone into drafting for your initial plan set, I don't know exactly where in the process your plans are. They may wait for them to come out to make those. If they're not structural changes, they might make those then. But no matter what, get those to your sales consultant as quickly as possible. We definitely don't want to do that stuff as we get closer to construction, and definitely don't want to be doing it in construction.
Right, absolutely. Lisa has a question for Justin. You mentioned location factors in construction actions. How are things going in Burnett County currently?
Busy.
Busy.
Everywhere is busy. I think it's only a fair question that you asked, Lisa. Mm-hmm. But we're busy across the board, and we're trying to make sure that we're supporting our builders by making sure they have supplies, which we're very fortunate to have good partnerships with anybody from Morrison, McCoy's. So we're receiving supplies where other guys aren't right now, and they have to swap and alternate products, which is something we may have to do at some point. But today we're standing tall. And then the labor force is something else. There's a lot of guys out there making a play at trying to build homes, and they're struggling to get materials. They're just not executing. So we're stretching our contractor base, and they're building up. Again, the focus is for us would be on the quality side. So when we deploy somebody, we're going to be back behind them to inspect that work. We make sure it's done right, and we're trying to do it in a timely fashion.
Makes sense. Charlotte is asking, do we take care of the septic, or is that included, added to the cost of the house?
We can certainly take care of the septic for you. So if it's something that you do not want to bother with, we have a team of folks that go out there. We procure contractors all the time. We know the right questions to ask. We also coordinate. We have many of these contractors on board already at this point. So it is not something that's included in the base price of the home. So it would be an addition, or you can find your own. At that point, Eric will be able to articulate the allowances that could come around that, or how you go about doing that septic.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like Justice said, most of the counties that we build in, we've got the contractors ready to go to do that. We can include that in the contract, and then if not, then what we can do is either point you in the right direction with something that our customers have used in the past. But every county varies a little bit based on how the permit is acquired. It is, no matter what county you're in the state of Texas, some type of septic design has to be done. Even if the county tells you, which is rare anymore, no, it does not. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality out of Austin, Texas says, yes, it does. It is not an option. And I pray that your county does have a process, because if not, you have to go through Austin, which is an unpleasant process. So almost all the counties we build in, they have a very clear permitting process. It's on their website. You submit a design, you submit, what size home you're building. In a lot of cases, the septic designer does it. In some cases, you have to do it. In some cases, your builder can do it. It does vary by county. So definitely talk to your design center nearest by, and we can walk you through that process.
Okay, great. Tim is saying, I keep hearing about plan redesigns. We are looking at the Abilene plan, but curious if that plan is changing, being updated in the near future. No, the Abilene is one of our newer plans. So we've completed that, and it is how it is until they change it. No, I'm just kidding. No, that one's done. That one's done. And I believe all the options for that series are done too. So it should stay as you see it. But great question. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, Terry is saying, when we see our final draw plans, is that when we make all necessary changes? No. Hopefully you've made all changes ahead of that. When you're looking at final plans, we truly do want those to be final. So if there's something you're pondering and you haven't seen those plans yet, get with your design consultant and see if it's something they need to request to come in, because the more times you make changes, the more times we have to redraw, and everything just sort of gets drawn out and takes longer, and you are putting yourself at risk of having your price go up, to just be perfectly honest with you. So when we're saying we're showing you final plans, we really want to be showing you final plans. All right. Martina is asking, is there a place that we can see what is standard on each plan aside from Tilson's standards?
The design center. Make an appointment. You're gonna, because it varies so much, Martina, by plan. There's some things that, broadly speaking, they come in every house, but like shingles, water heater, HVAC system, that kind of stuff. But as far as what cabinet features come in which home and all that, like, you really are going to be best served to go in. There's not a centralized location where all that stuff's just there. So go to the design center, have them tour the model homes with you. We typically have one that's set up with pretty much most included features, and then the other one there has got a bunch of the options, personal choices that you can have in there. But they can give you a really, really good idea of what's going to be included in every home that we build.
Okay, good. Wendy is asking, will you work in conjunction with a pool builder? They're wanting a pool, and ideally they'd like to roll it into the mortgage.
We think.
We hope. I think it's probably more likely.
That's pretty cool, Wendy. I like the way you asked that.
Yes.
So I will talk to the upfront sales loan side, and I'm going to let Justin speak to the construction side of it, because it's a challenge on both ends. So first of all, to include it in the mortgage, it's going to have to fit in the appraisal. And that's going to be a challenge these days, with as quickly as prices are escalating. It's going to be really difficult to fit a $50 or $60 or $100,000 pool contract into a loan. So that's going to be the first hurdle. if that is somehow able to do, then we would want to know who obviously the contractor is. We're gonna have to have a candid conversation with them because technically Tilson is doing the loan for that. So they're going to be expecting to get paid as they're on draws on a sort of a construction loan schedule, which Tilson would be having to pay out. So we're going to want to be sure that they're a reputable company, that we know who they are, how they do business, what kind of reputation they have, how they run their business. And we're going to get pretty involved in that and how they run their business and how they spend their money, because we're loaning them the money that we won't be getting paid for till the home is finished and we'll get a loan. So we're going to want a lot of information about how they're going to do their contract and how they're going to collect their draws. And now I'll let Justin take it away with, if all those things actually happen and it does go into construction, what that look like.
For construction, it's a little bit simpler. So we're going to coordinate all of the activities that we need to complete so that they can come in and take over the operations of the exterior of the house. So essentially your masonry, all your septic most likely will need to be done, powers connected, all of those aspects. And we need to know exactly where they're putting the pool so we can keep those utilities, those components out of their way. So it's a collaborative effort, if you will, to make sure that we achieve what they're wanting to at the end with the right location. But it can be worked into the schedule, but it would be near the end, and we're going to push them. We don't want any delays on that pool because we're probably going to be pretty close to completion about the time that they're going to start. So we're going to want a strong commitment to them to get in and out of there as quick as possible and know that schedule.
Okay, makes sense. V is asking if the time frame is the same to get built and go through closing if they're paying cash for their home.
But it's a little closer, a little faster, but not the construction part is the same. It's going to be identical, but on the front end, you're going to save a little bit of time because you're not going to wait on an appraisal. And on the back end, you may save a couple of weeks of not having to do some updates and final appraisal stuff and appointments with title companies.
Survey.
Survey. Yeah. So you could probably save a month, maybe two overall, but anything over a month, right now probably a stretch as far as actual time savings go. But you are going to save money. So.
Yep, there is a discount for going cash. Alrighty. Stephen is asking if we decide to go to 2x6 framing 24 inches on center, can we also do open cell foam to 5 inches and minimize shaving off the foam? What do you think, Justin?
I'd rather have a conversation around what that looks like. I don't know that changing, because you start changing the exterior walls to 2x6, you have to accommodate that in the foundation. So can it be done? Yes. I would almost argue that our current specs, or if you just wanted to get into a foam job, that you're going to be right close to the same end game that you're looking for here. So there's a lot of specifics that we'd want to talk about, but it can be done. I don't like changing my standards from the 19.2 16-inch center on the walls and 19.2. Part of it, in just full disclosure, the more repetition my guys have, it's the less time that there's an error on the job, and there's just not fumbling around. They know right away when they walk up to the job, we got to lay out on 16-inch on center on the walls. They're used to working with those materials, those parameters. 2x6s isn't that big of a deal. 2x6 to 2x4 wall isn't that big of a deal, but I really like where our standards are as far as our structure. And again, I'm going to hold the warranty on the structure for 10 years. So I hold those things pretty close to the vest.
Yeah. I'm not saying that there wouldn't be some kind of cost saving, Stephen, on the minimized shaving of the foam. It would be the first I heard of it. They don't usually, as far as I know, with the volume that we do, we don't get charged any extra for them to clean up shavings, or because they're going to recycle that stuff anyway. They bag it and away it goes. So there's not really a cost savings there that I've ever seen from any of our vendors that we use.
And not to mention the cost of a 2x6 now compared to lumber is just high. So, I mean, your cost of your 2x6 lumber is also going to be, and I know separating it going to 24 inches on center, but we ran some numbers. It's been 12 to 18 months ago, and the cost difference is almost minimal, negligible when you start spreading them out like that. So.
But scientifically, he's correct. theoretically you do wider cavities, you will get more insulation.
Correct.
It's definitely a more energy efficient home. So Stephen, you're on the right track. I think, but the from what Justin's saying, from a repeatability standpoint of, man, our guys are used to working on 16-inch centers and they're really good at it, and we're super comfortable with it from a structural standpoint, and it's performed really, really well for us. That's where we're coming from. But you're on the right track from an energy standpoint. It is more energy efficient.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll follow the science, Justin.
Yes.
All right. Rusty is asking, when adding alternate garage on some plans, it adds a small hallway. Can that hallway be added without the garage, basically a hallway that goes to an outside door? Yes.
Yeah. In most of those cases, we're just sliding a bedroom back 4 feet or so. So it does add footage, but yes, we absolutely can do that.
Okay. Arturo is asking, do you help us find property as well?
Dawn, do we find property? What do we do?
We can help somewhat. We might know about a few, but we really recommend a website called landsoftexas.com. It's the best place that we found to kind of start your property search, because it does focus more on undeveloped property versus, the housing that you'd see on Zillow and stuff like that. And it's divided by county. It's real good, simple search. So we recommend starting there when looking for your search. All right. Jamie is asking, what plan is your most built plan, the most popular? So lately, depending on the month, it's a toss-up between the Angelina and the Gonzalez, are right at neck and neck, followed closely by the Cypress Driftwood, because I'm going to call them one plan because they are. So when you add them together, that's usually third place. And then you're going to see a lot of the models coming in after that. So San Jacinto, all of those kind of plans. But
Jamie, it's not a popularity contest. It's what works for you.
Yeah, it's whatever works best for you. But right now, those seem to be our leading, most popular ones. Terry is asking if we handle the HOA, or does Tilson handle the HOA, or does the customer send in the forms?
So it's going to be both. It's going to vary a little bit by HOA, by homeowners association, or architectural control committee, for those of you who aren't big acronym fans like myself. So it's going to be one of those two. But in all cases, it's really, really helpful to have the homeowner as an advocate, because you're the one that's going to be living with these people forever and ever. So sometimes when they hear from us, it's kind of like, we'll get to you when we get to you, because they don't have to live with us. Sometimes homeowners greasing the skids a little bit helps. So typically the more involved you are, kind of the better it goes in most cases. But as far as actual doing all the application process, collecting the exterior color samples, site plan, that kind of stuff that they're going to want, we do handle all of that. We'll fill the forms out with you. But some people like Dawn are very controlling when it comes to the way forms are filled out, and they want it done a particular way. If you're that kind of person, knock your lights out. We are not going to fight you. So go right ahead and do it, Terry. Look, this is real talk. Okay. This is a safe space.
Real talk. Dawn's a control freak.
You just like things done right.
I like things done.
That's why she likes working with me, because it's never right. It's always a work in progress. So she feels like she always has something to do.
All right. Toy is asking, can a tankless water heater be used in place of a regular water heater? And is there an additional cost to install?
Justin, what do we do?
Yes, a tankless water heater can be used in place, traditional water heater. Attic, utility room, closet, garage, on the outside of the home. I mean, there's all kinds of the tankless out for a lot of flexibility as far as location goes. And then there is an additional cost to install the tankless water heater, along with the component itself.
Okay, great. Runner Dude is saying he's looking at lots in new developments that have roads, utilities, curbs, etc. already installed, less than 100 by 100 lots already cleared and graded. Will I need to do anything? Let me clear it so I can read it. Anything else to prepare for Tilson?
Not really. Get a survey. We still need to have a survey, because we're going to want to know what the setbacks are. So front building lines, side building lines. We'll need that information. We'll need at least the information for the utility companies. The names of the actual entities, but that's really about it. And if you find this place that you're looking at, please let us know, because that sounds like utopia right now as far as available lots go.
Absolutely. We would love to get you some neighbors.
Yeah.
All right, a question. Recently closed and moved into our new home. Now that they've been in it for a month, they've noticed quite a few flaws in the sheetrock that I guess weren't noticed at walkthrough. Is this covered in the warranty? And if so, how did they get that taken care of?
So that would be a fit and finish, and there's a 12-month warranty on fit and finish items. So we contact warrantyinfo@tilsonhomes.com. I believe we have that on our website as well, so it's easy to reference. We have 3 customer care reps that one of them will be back in touch with you, and we'll get a service technician out there to come and look at the work and see what we need to do from there.
Great.
I'm sorry
thanks
that
for buying
happened.
with me, by the way. Thanks for trusting.
All righty. We are looking to build somewhere in Central Texas, moving from Nevada. How would we set up an out-of-state appointment? And so you would just reach out to one of our new home coordinators, and we can set up a virtual appointment for you. So you would meet over a go-to meeting on the computer, meet with your design consultant, and they can go through everything that you would go through in person. So kind of look at plans, how you would want to change them up, give you a price quote and everything. So no problem. We build with people from out of state all the time. We've done out of the country. So
Out of the country, yeah.
Yeah, we can do everything virtual.
We are international.
We are. All right. Patrick is asking, can we use a survey that they already have?
You can bring it to us. What the most critical component of that, Patrick, is that somebody's able to locate the actual corner pins. So, the survey may be really old, which, the lines haven't changed, ideally. We'll find that out from a title commitment if they have, but even if the survey's been done, we still need to be able to find those corner pins. So if we are not able to locate the corner pins, we probably still will ask you to contact a surveyor, have them come out and flag the corners. But we do try very hard to find them. We got shovels and metal detectors and all kinds of little devices to try and help us find it.
All right, perfect. Terry is asking, can we start the pool process close to finishing the home build with a cash buy?
If you're paying cash, you can do the pool whenever you want to, as long as the outside of the house is done, I'd say, right, Justin?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Lisa is asking if we can provide an estimate on time frames specifically between foundation completion and framing currently that a customer can expect.
And remember, she's in Burnett
County.
I can't be specific in Burnett. I know that I have some foundations that are sitting out there for 3 to 4 weeks. I watch production status. And so I do know that we have some jobs that are sitting out there right now. We want to get the foundation, because of weather and all the other factors, and coordinating everything that goes into that foundation being placed on the ground. We try and pull those files out to construction as soon as we can, and then we pour that slab, get a hard spot. And once we get there, framing is going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks most times. It's just somewhere in there. So those crews, they're working diligently to finish up the next project they're on, and then we load all the material up and we send it out there to the job site, generally all at one time, so they have everything they need to expedite getting the frame done. I'd rather be sitting at a foundation stage because it's honestly not hurting anything. There's other activities we can do. We can do some grading or tensioning the cables, all of those things. That concrete's still curing, so it's not hurting the foundation. Once we get into the frame, we want to expedite getting that frame dried in as fast as we possibly can. Sometimes that's weather prohibits us from getting it in any quicker than we are. But it's hard to say exactly how long it might be sitting at this point. But I know that we have some that are out there that are 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, Lisa, in the hill country where you are, particularly in and around the Austin area, and I would consider Burnett around the Austin area, it's the fastest growing area in the country. So there's a big stress on the demand for labor there, and we're right there in the middle of it, in the thick of it. We aren't going to just hire any contractor that shows up on our doorstep looking for work right now. If they're looking for work, there's probably a reason why, and we're going to be real skeptical about using them. But the other thing is just there's so much competition for labor right now that we are waiting, in some cases maybe even longer, 4 to 6 weeks after that foundation is poured until we get a framer, one of the framers that we want to use out there on the site to start work. But it's not because we don't want to. Again, we lock the customer on a price, and once we start construction, we're not getting paid for that home until the house is finished. So believe me, nobody wants it done. I know you want it done real bad, but so do we.
So do we.
So,
yeah. All right.
But thanks for bearing with us, and thanks for asking. I appreciate it, Lisa.
Yeah. Tom is asking, we'll be building in Grayson County near Howe, Texas. How have we found the county officials in that area? How are they to work with?
I found them to be elected officials. They're elected. No, they're fine. Yeah, Grayson County is great. Howe, Texas, Van Alstyne, all those places around there, really, really easy to work with. Some of the cities can be a little persnickety, but overall, the county itself, no factor. Great, good down home Texas folk and hardworking people.
Okay, great. Kahana is asking if we can recommend a business that removes the slab from your property.
Yeah, send us a private we'll get a private message over, and we'll get a hold of our guys. And you said Harris County. I saw that just a second later. If it's inside the city of Houston, we're probably not going to be a whole lot of help to you. But if you're out in unincorporated Harris County, we can help you out with somebody.
Okay, great. And Squirrely Man says, thank you for the warranty information. Wanted to let everybody know that we've been wonderful to work with through the whole build and after closing process. So, yay.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us that. Let's see. Lagina says, we're currently in the construction process, and I want to say that Gabe is awesome. He is, and the contractors are doing a great job, and they're excited. And yes, she sent us all kinds of pictures. Your house looks amazing. So we're so excited for you. And thank you for sharing. We will pass that along. And that is all the questions I see right now. So that's the cue for more to come piling in.
That's right. So last call for questions.
Last call.
We do genuinely appreciate everyone being on here. We know it's a really strange time. Everybody has got a lot going on. I know you're getting inundated with news all the time about lumber prices, about housing starts, about housing shortage, about this and that. And while there's truth to all of those things, also don't get too, there's a way things can get sensationalized, and don't be scared of doing something. If this is your dream, if you want to build a forever home out in rural Texas, do it.
Absolutely.
Rates are never going to be lower than they are now. And prices, are they going to change? Yeah, they're going to change, but in the next 5, 10, 20, 50 years, they're going to go up. Okay. That's all there is to it.
Just keep in mind when you're reading the news that COVID is boring now. The election is over. So we're going to make housing seem scary now because it's what the
not true. They're still counting more votes in Arizona. We're still like 5 months later.
Okay. With most people, the election is over. They're prepping for the next one. So news cycle. They're looking at housing.
I think with that, we had a couple more questions.
We did. Runner Dude is curious about the folks in Collin County, Frisco and McKinney area. Are they easy to work with?
They're tougher than Grayson.
All right.
I mean, basically, hey, Runner Dude, the closer you get to the big incorporated areas, Dallas, North Dallas, where there's high demand on production subdivision stuff, it's not going to be as easy for infill on your land. It's just, they're not set for that. Collin County has a big shortage of land that's available to just go build on. They're mostly been ate up by 300, 500, 700 lot developments for master plan communities. That's what those counties are geared for. There are still some places in Collin County you can buy a lot and build. Very few in the city of Frisco, city of McKinney, that kind of area. But it's still there. You go out towards east, out 380, towards Princeton and all that, and there's still some beautiful areas. Like I think it's Lavon Lake. They don't call it Lake Lavon. It's Lavon Lake. There's some spots out there, but we've done it. We'll say that.
Okay, perfect. Lisa just wanted to say thank you. Seen so much construction going around all around Burnett, so she understands everything that's going. So thank you, Lisa. Rusty is asking, would the Flatwork allowance be big enough for a 2-car parking pad?
Typically, yeah. I mean, we're not going to do anything less than 500 square feet, I don't think, when we do flat work. And so that'd be, like 20 by 25. If my Aggie math serves me right, it's going to get you pretty close. So yeah, that'd be enough for 2-car off-street parking.
All right. Nick's waving at you.
Hello, Nick. He's one of our customer care reps, so I guess he needs an email sent his way. So we need Squirrely Man to send Nick an email. So
we're going to sheetrock, yes.
All right. So Karen is counting down the days to closing on her Tilson home. The quality of the build is amazing, and everyone has been so easy to work with. Those of you who follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Kelsey posted a black and white preview last week. That was Karen's home. And we will be talking about that next week on our live. So we'll be showing you everything in color and what she did, because her home is absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much, Karen. All right. And then Runner Dude also says, thank you. YouTube videos are very helpful. Thank you for tuning in. We're glad that you find them useful.
For joining us, guys. We were on a separate call, and Justin accepted the challenge. I now owe him a cheeseburger. So that was the deal. If he came on, I'd get him a burger. So,
all right. What a burger it is.
Anything for Eric and Dawn at any time.
So thank you, Dawn, for setting this up.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Kelsey and Nick. I saw y'all answering throughout the chat. So thank y'all for doing this. And thank you, every one of you, for tuning in and watching this. We hope you find these things helpful. We hope that they make you a more educated buyer. And truly, you can reach out to us on any of our mediums. We got the website that's open 24/7. We got Instagram. We got Facebook page. We got YouTube channel with tons and tons of videos on there. So go in there and binge on those. All 11 locations are open 7 days a week. And we'd love to sit down and chat with you guys about building your forever home on your land. So until next time, we genuinely hope to soon make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see you later.